So, welcome to another episode of The Dressing Room, where we are trying on new perspectives, one conversation at a time. Today's episode, we will be discussing necessary endings and why it's so important to let go of things when it's time. We both briefly read the book. I know I briefly read the book, Necessary Endings by Henry Cloud. And one of the parts that really resonated with me was about the plant and how you have to go through a pruning season of cutting pieces off of the plant in order for the plant to continue to grow.
Right.
I don't know if you remember too much because you read it a little.
Yeah, it's been months since I read it. But one of the things, I can't remember it verbatim, but I know it talked about letting go of your children. So it
has to be deep. Yeah. Being as though we both have kids, I think a lot of people out there have kids. It's like, how do you do that? And what does that look like?
You know, it was crazy that I was actually going through it when I read the book. Mm-hmm. So when he started talking about it, it kind of gave me a relief that it was okay. Because a part of you don't want to let go. You just feel like, those are my children. You almost feel like this is what I'm supposed to do as a mother. Hold on, be there, show up, fix the issues, even now that they're grown.
Right.
So, and that's not the case. Right. There is a time you need to let go, because if you don't, you'll find yourself where I found myself, not having nothing for myself and feeling like I was drowning, and that's how I know endings are necessary.
I think sometimes we mix necessary endings with giving up.
Right.
And that's why we run into that problem, because mentally we're saying, I don't want to give up on my kids, or I don't want to give up on my spouse. When really this is just a necessary ending that has to happen.
Right.
So I think that's where the disconnect be at.
Yeah.
Feeling as if I'm giving up versus no, it's time for me to let this go.
Yeah.
So.
And I had to learn too, like at some point my mother had to let me go, and look what happened. I survived. Because for some reason we feel like, well, at least I know I felt like, they need me. If I walk away now, what's going to happen? What they going to do? And then you be like, well, what did you do? Did you figure it out?
Right.
You clearly figured it out. You still here. You had them. You still taking care of them. Yeah. So obviously, whatever your mama did worked, So, but sometimes that don't, especially if you felt like you didn't have what you needed when you was a child. So, because that was my thing. I don't feel like I had enough.
Right.
So I overgave to my children. I overgave of myself because I didn't feel like I got enough.
And do you feel like that helped or hindered them in the long run?
Oh, it hindered, because there needed to be a balance. There's just you give them what they need and you let it go. Well, I gave them what they need. I gave them what they need. Every time they would mess up, I didn't leave no room for them to use the tools that I gave them, because I would jump right in and fix it. I learned how to fix it from not having nobody to fix it. And instead of that registering,
fueled you to do the same for us.
Right, that didn't register. It registered, I didn't have nobody, so I'm going to be there.
Right.
I'm going to, make sure my kids don't have to know what it feels like to be alone or to not have nobody around. And then I stuck around way too long and they became way too dependent on me being there. Ooh. So now that I almost felt like I had to rip myself away so I could breathe again, so I could, start to, pour back into myself.
Right.
Because I was feeling depleted. It was constantly, because when you have children and then the grandchildren come, if you never get out, you're constantly taking care of people. There's no way to take care of people that much and take care of yourself. And it pushed me into letting go, because I didn't let go when I should have. I was forced into it, because now it was who do you save in this situation, you or them?
Right. If there was a certain age that you would let your kids go, would it be a specific age, or would it just be a certain time that you realize, okay, it's time? Or do you feel like that it's something where there's certain situations that come up that I gotta know not to interfere in, so that they can learn the lesson that they need to learn at that particular moment?
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Which is another book we read. But back to what I said, I would have, when things would come up, I would have just stood back. It's almost like when you see a child, fall, and you wait for them to get back up and see what they're going to do. You don't just run to them and be like, because if everybody panic, they start crying. They wouldn't have never cried if didn't nobody do all that, but you let them get up. They fall off the bike. Let's see what you're going to do. Let's see if you actually have the tools, or you have the brain to figure out, if I just get back up, stand the bike back up, let me just try it again till I figure it out. But if somebody keep getting you up and keep rubbing you off, you never learn that you can actually do it. And now you become dependent. I need somebody to help me get back on this bike.
Yeah.
And I
think the crazy thing is that we have had like a lot of conversations where I've always compared your life to our life. And I would be like, but Mom, you're like this and how you are because of your circumstances. Nobody was there to help you. You have to cut it off, so you're not there to help us do these things, so we can learn just like you had to learn.
Right. Yeah.
And I think we automatically as children become dependent because we know we got somebody right there that's just going to put the pillow. The minute we fall,
soften the blow.
That's going to soften the blow every time. Granted, I feel like I looked at things a lot differently, where it's like I didn't want to have to call you. I didn't want to have to, right? That's cringing because I needed, no, I'm too grown. I looked at it like at a certain point, it's like I want to show up as if my mother taught me something, as if I know something. I know how to maneuver this thing called life. So I don't want to be codependent on you or anybody. So I still want to set my life up in a way where I can move as freely as I want to move versus my siblings.
And you want to save those calls for necessary calls, not calls. Just every call. This happened. Hey, can you help me out? This happened. Hey, can you? After a while, you don't even want to answer the phone because you're looking down and your child is calling, and you're like, no mother wants to feel like that. But yeah, I've been there.
So, what's the hardest thing you've had to let go of, or person?
Yeah, my children.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that for me, I've had people die that hurt a lot, and it took me years, and I had to go through it alone. That was the hardest thing,
What, letting go of your children? Letting go of your children, you had to go
letting go. Well, no. No, not letting go of my children. Letting when I lost people that died.
Oh, okay.
And I learned in that too that people really need people during those times. Like when I lost my my first boyfriend, when he got killed, it was just like, it was almost like somebody snatched my breath out of my body, and I'm like, and we weren't even together at that point. But the fact that you get a call at 3:00 in the morning, he's been shot and he's dead, and he had been shot before and he always survived, but this time
it wasn't the same.
And it's almost like, and you have nobody to
console you or to be there for you. And
that's
it's crazy because I feel like everybody wants something different during those times. Like you never know, because some people don't want people to be, around them when they're dealing with grief and stuff like that. And then some people do want. You would think that the natural way is to want people around to be able to talk to or to console you and to get you through those times. But it's like you don't never know what people need.
I think it's a balance.
Yeah.
Because I spent a lot of time going and sitting at his grave by myself. I would just go like almost every day. I found myself going and just sitting there and talking and just being there. It made me feel closer to him. And after gradually I eventually got better. It got easier, but over a period of time.
Right.
But I did wish I could have had somebody else to have conversations with to say, remember when. You know,
To kinda just
remember
reminisce a
when we
little
were,
bit.
remember when this happened, or just to give you that warm feeling about that person. You know what I'm saying? So when Misha's father died, I kind of had a little more of that because I could share that with y'all.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't totally alone, but that was another,
Right.
like, you know, and because I was so, again, dependent on them people in my life because they had meant so much to me.
Yeah.
So once they were snatched away, it was like,
Oh, wait a minute.
right, what do I do? Because that's what happens when we have to let go. It's like, what do I do? We panic because we like, this has changed. This is uncomfortable. That's why it's so hard to let go, because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
But
And it's crazy to think that way of like, what do I do when y'all not even in a relationship? And it's not like it changes your day to day.
it didn't. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't going to change my day to day, but
The thought of just knowing that if I wanted to call and talk to you, I don't have that
can't.
option anymore. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I have another question. How do you know when you're holding on to something out of habit versus holding on to it because it still has potential?
When that thing that you're holding on to is not serving you. It's not serving the spirit. It may be serving the flesh, but it's no longer serving your spirit. It's no longer feeding you, helping you elevate, making you feel better about yourself. I had a relationship where when I was in his space, we had a great time.
Right.
It felt good. It was, but after that initial feel good, whatever,
It was
and especially when a person kind of want to show up the way they want to show up, when they want to show up, but not necessarily, you know, as a relationship. It wasn't. He wasn't feeding their actual relationship. It was more like when somebody say, you know, we good, we doing this, but I mean, but we're gonna do it like this, not too much, right? You know, you're like, what? And then when you decide, okay, I'm gonna let it go. Now they stalking you. Okay, you don't want, but you do, and then that's another thing. Let it go. This is not working. Why are you even entertaining him?
Right.
Why entertain him? You know what? That's the flesh still wanting to be entertained, and that comes from a deeper issue of trauma too.
You know, this topic can be so deep. And I feel like, why do you feel like people struggle with the letting go process? With the initial, you know how there's some things you can see and it's like, that don't serve me, I'm moving the other way. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But in certain situations, whether it's a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, friend, it's like you need continuous confirmation that this isn't right.
Yeah.
What is that like? Why do we struggle in that space of trying to figure out, should I really leave this alone? Or is it really not serving me? Does it have some potential? Is now the time to get out? We question it so much as if we want to make it not the right thing to do.
You know what I think I learned? That we don't trust ourselves. I learned that I didn't trust myself to make the right decision for me.
I used to say that to you sometimes.
Yeah,
and
you did.
It's crazy,
and it was
like,
true.
A lot of times we don't trust our own judgment. And I'm not saying that we should completely run into the first thing that we think of. But a lot of times we don't believe that we make the right decisions.
Right.
And when we going into a new dating, scene, or when we meeting a new friend, it's like, nah, 'cause the last 20 friends was fake,
Right.
We don't trust that we make good decisions when it comes to a lot of things in our lives. So when it comes to letting something go, it's like, should I be letting this go? Like, am I supposed? I think also too, we are fearful that it's going to look like I just said F you. I just moved on. I didn't really give it a chance. Versus, no, I analyzed. I asked a few questions. I made some requests. And then I went on with my business. But that's because moving on so quickly is rare. So when you find somebody that can be like, oh, that's okay, cool, let's move on. It's not that deep. It's almost like a culture. It's almost like a shock.
Right.
And you like, wow, so y'all just not going to talk again? Yeah, no, what's the problem? I realized it was ending, and it's time for me to go. It's not that big of a deal. It's time to move on.
Right.
You know, but that alone is just like, wait, so y'all not going to... But y'all was cool for like 6-7 years. You just not going... And that goes to the next question that you had put where... dang, what you say? Understanding when God is allowing you to let it go, and then when he gives you no choice.
Yes.
When something is just snatched away from you and it's like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because I know I've been in some... I've had my own love for... I guess the world would call bad boys. Mm-hmm. So, and I know God could see things that I couldn't. And I feel like a lot of times he removed people. Mm-hmm. And it was so, I'm telling you, that's another reason why I'm very strategic when I pray and when I talk to God. And, you know, I remember asking God to help me with a decision between this person and that person, or what I should do. Do I let this go or do I keep it? And a week later, the person was no longer there. They were dead. And that
shocked you.
I was like, I mean,
yeah. When you make a decision, sometimes you be like,
and I'm like, and I'm not saying that what happened to him was necessary, but that's how it felt. That's like I asked, and you you took the choices away. I didn't even have to make it no more. There was no choice to make.
Right.
You know, even with me staying in my relationship with your father and marrying him, we should have never got married. We weren't supposed to get married. We were supposed to be together to have y'all. That is the rationalization I have come to, and I understand we had a great purpose to get together and make our 4 beautiful children, well, 3 beautiful children.
Right.
And that's it. And we learned from each other. We learned... You know, we taught each other things because we met at 15. So we had a season, but we were never meant for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Never. But no matter what God would show me, or what God would say, or what I would hold, and that was that loyalty, that ride or die. I've always had that ride or die spirit. I'ma stay. We gonna ride this till the wheels fall off. I'm not walking away. Yes, I'm hurt. I am dying inside. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to stay right here. And then God said, okay, I'll remove the problem from you because this is going nowhere fast for you. This is not going to end well, but this is going to end. And he ended that too.
So it seems like most of your relationships, you may have known, or, you know, at some point God removed the person away from you.
Yeah.
Because he knew you wasn't out here making the right decision.
He knew I wasn't. He knew. He knew when I loved hard. Mm-hmm. And it was hard for me to just walk away like that. I'm always like, okay, I'm going to get it. And I think that for me, when I started doing the work and saying, why do I do that? And it was me not doing to people what had been done to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with that and being able to decipher what's the right thing to do and what's the wrong thing to do. Mm-hmm. But when people feel like they were alone growing up, that they crave so much to not make nobody feel like they alone. They literally would make it seem like I gotta show up because I don't want them to feel how I felt when I was 6. And it's like you can't realistically.
You're not even made for that.
No.
None of us.
And that's not your role. But people will literally break their necks to make sure that that person don't feel like they're alone. They know it's not healthy for them. They know they shouldn't be in it. They know it's bad, but it's like when people also learn how to manipulate you because they know what your weaknesses are, they be like, so you're just gonna leave me all by myself? Like that's what you're gonna do? And it's like, now
it's cool, that's what everybody else do anyway.
You know what I mean? And then and then now you're in your head like, dang, they right. I don't want to do that. That would happen to me. I didn't like it. I don't want to.
Yeah. And see, the thing with me, and you know this, I'm either here or I'm here.
0 or 100.
So either I'm in love and I love you, or I have loyalty for you. Cause once I get here,
right, you're done.
I'm done. Like, I'm done. Like, there's no going back to this side. Cause I know I spent so much time here that if you let me get here, you don't deserve me. Right. You probably never did. You know, but that's also something where you got to learn who you are and trust yourself. I had to learn to trust myself. I had to learn to love myself more, regardless of whether I was loved enough as a child. I had to say, you know what, that's gone. There ain't nothing you can do about that. But how much do you love you today?
That makes sense too. That when you said that, it resonated with me when I wanted to write that book called She Died, and I attended her funeral. Because it was a necessary ending of the old version of me.
Yeah.
And it was like she had to die. I'm still gonna write that book, y'all. But it came to me and I'm like, you know, she died. And I watched it. I was there. And it was like I literally watched the old version of myself pass away and me be rebirthed into a new version of me so I can be better for myself. And when you speak about necessary endings, sometimes we need to speak heavily on that old version dying and letting go of who you used to be,
right,
or who you were groomed to be from a child, and moving into who you want to be as an adult.
Right.
So I'm still going to write that book.
And knowing that it's a choice.
Yeah.
Because see, some people say, well, I was raised like this. This is just who I am. You know, my parents did this, da. Everything is a choice.
Yeah.
You can, I don't care what you went through in life. Tomorrow you can choose differently if you want to.
Yep.
Or you can be a victim, wallow in it. You know, blame the world, blame mommy, blame daddy, blame whoever, that you are not making better choices for you. You are grown. You get to choose. Nobody can take away from you what God gave you. Free will to choose.
Have you ever been in a situation where you kind of rode the fence, or maybe still riding the fence between, do I let this go or do I keep working on this?
No, I have. I definitely have.
You know, like even once you know that something is probably like, you know what, this is it. And okay, so this is my question. I feel like the more wiser you get, you feel like it's easier. Does it become easier to let people and things go? Or does it remain the same and you just got to make a decision?
I do think it get easier if you pay, if you actually get wiser with your age.
Gotcha.
Where you've learned from your mistakes. You've actually paid attention, took notes, you know, grew through the pain. And you do, because now it's just like, first of all, you like, at this age, I ain't even got time.
I've been here before.
I know. I see food walk. I see you. It's like you see it. And you turn around, you be like, hi, how you doing? Keep on walking. Not today. You learn, and it does get easier if you get wiser. Definitely. It gets easier. And then that's why people start saying, oh, her cutoff game or his cutoff game. Just like, nah, they got tired. They don't got time for no bullshit.
They don't got time to stick around with something they know ain't serving them.
We're not doing this. Because especially when you get so comfortable in yourself, That is the most dangerous thing for other people that need to pray on you and your love, is when you become comfortable with you, to where you don't just attach yourself to every little thing and every person that come along and show you some attention, or just can say anything to pull you in. Because you can tell when somebody running game.
Yeah.
You can hear it. You know, but sometimes when you get that tingle, you hear it, but you still wanna. The flesh and the spirit will fight. I learned, and you know, I've been in a relationship, and I still say it's one of the best relationships I was ever in. It changed my life, and I'll still say it's the greatest love I ever had to this day. But I had to end it, and that. I ain't even gonna lie. You talk about die to yourself. I had to let my flesh completely die.
Right.
And that was painful physically and emotionally, to let him out of my spirit, out of my body.
Is he completely out?
No.
Okay.
Meaning he's okay. He's not completely out, but he's out to where I won't
indulge.
I won't allow my flesh to take over my body. For me, I won't choose the flesh over the spirit. That's where I got to. Well, one time the flesh was strong.
Yeah.
Oh, it was strong. You know, I would just have to pray afterwards. You know, I just go, you know, have communion every Sunday, not every first Sunday, every Sunday, because it was just.
Yeah.
And I still feel like, and I know for a fact, we still have a major connection. We do. It's just that we can't have a physical one, but we're always going to be two of one part. And I know that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
But letting that go, that was necessary for the both of us. But I knew if I wasn't strong enough, we would have never let go, because he wouldn't have never been able to do it. Somebody has to be that person. But when I made the decision, he was willing to respect it. Like, he's not going to invade it or whatever, be like, you know, no. Now he has, but once he realized how important my spirit was for me, yeah. Yeah, so.
That makes sense. I think too, when I think about necessary endings, and either you end it or it's going to get ended.
Oh, it's going to get ended.
You know, and I think about my best friend, you know, my childhood best friend, and our relationship and how it ended. And I think sometimes when you're in relationships with people, especially at a young age, you have I want to say misconceptions, but you have a tainted view on what friendship is, and what you should and shouldn't allow, and when you should speak up for yourself and say how you feel in the moment.
Right.
So one of the things that I want to say to the audience is, if you are in something and there are things that needs to be said, and there are things that need to be a conversation that needs to be had, have that conversation today, because it doesn't get better. Eventually that necessary ending, it will end. Now when I go into relationships, I'm way wiser. I'm so much more wiser at saying, I'm going to say exactly what I need to say, and how you move will determine whether this is real or not. And not even if it's real, but if it's supposed to be. I'm not compatible with everybody, and I'm okay with that. And because I became wise enough to know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Everybody can't deal with me. Everybody don't want to hear the truth all day long. Everybody don't want to be elevated. You know? So I'm at a point now with my newer friendships, or anybody that I come in contact with, or even my family members, where it's like, I'm going to be honest with you today about how I feel today. That way, 3 or 4, 5 years down the line, it won't end abruptly out of my control.
Right.
because I watched that happen twice in my life. Like where it was like, damn, this was abrupt. I didn't see this coming.
But it was always a brewing.
But it was always a brewing.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see that. I didn't know that that's what it was doing. I didn't even realize that me not saying what needed to be said or not having those uncomfortable conversations at the time was going to ultimately still lead us to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like either way we was going to the door. It just may not have been in this moment or this year. But at the end of the day, this is going to exit.
Yeah.
So that was one of the, so I do feel like now where I am today, much wiser, it's easier for me to let go of things.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to let go of people. Where some people may look at it like, damn, that was quick. Listen, I got one life to live. Once I recognize that this is not going the way it should go.
Yeah, because the saying, what's for you is for you.
It's going to be for you.
I don't have to change who I am.
Right.
If I feel something, I should be able to say that to you as my friend. And if I say what I'm feeling, just because I'm feeling it, don't make me
true.
right.
It doesn't make it true.
Right? But I should be able to tell you and we have a conversation. But if I tell you and you get all discombobulated and shut down or lose it,
and if it ends now and it was supposed to end now, let it end. We kind of will withhold what we really want to say because we know what the outcome going to be. And I don't want to lose you as a friend, so I'm not going to say what I really want to say.
And that's what people do in friendships and they do in relationships. Yep. That man, something's going on and you walking around all day slamming dishes and all that. You need to be saying something to him and you didn't. And then it roll over into other relationships and you walking around, you're exercising, you acting like you happy and you not because you comfortable and you don't want to be alone. So you put a lock on your tongue, you hold things in, you act like everything is okay. But then eventually things come to a head.
Yeah.
Because one thing, and I keep saying
it's going to do it the universe going to show up.
The universe
regardless.
is going to do it. It every time.
You may have bought yourself a little time.
A little time, not much.
But it's going to happen. If it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen. And I tell people, like, I say what I want to say and get it off my chest now because if we ain't supposed to be around each other, God, do it now. Let's not wait 5, 6, 7 years in where it's really going to take a toll on me.
Exactly.
I'm going to be me. And that's another reason why I tell people, like, be yourself. Yeah. You got to be yourself because yourself is going to eventually come out.
Oh, yeah.
And the people around you either going to love it or hate it.
Yeah.
Be yourself today so I can decide today whether I be like, you know what, she mean, but I fucks with it. Or, I don't like that. I can't deal with her. Be yourself every second, every minute. Man, I swear that she can get it. Man, if you would, man, put your hands up. Hey, hands up. But yeah, be yourself. I have to be myself. I want you to know exactly what you're getting yourself into because a year down, I don't want you to say, oh, that's not the person I met. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What's up? Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want you to be like, oh, you acting different. No, I'm not. I'm giving you the same Jasmine that you met 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago. You know, so it's so important to just be yourself when it comes to things like that.
Be your authentic self. Don't talk about it. Actually be it. Because the thing about it, your truth is going to seep out, you know. And understand, why do people feel like if the seasons change, why do we feel like our lives aren't going to change? Or things are not going to shift? Yeah. We see it every day. Things change every day. So why are we so afraid of it? That's what necessary in this. Winter has to end in order for spring to begin.
He spoke about that in the book, and he talked about how we even prepare for the ending. Yes. We start getting our coats and stuff together. The minute spring, summer is gone, we like, okay, when we prepare for the new season.
Do it.
Yeah, but we still like, dang, they got
in the store
they
now.
got bathing suits out. It's 30 degrees. But we prepare for the season's ending because we already know what's about to happen. Coming. It's just a cycle. It's like, oh, okay, you know, it's done. Summer's gone. Winter's coming in. All right, then we got fall. You know, not fall. Shoot, we got spring, summer, fall.
Right.
But
and some seasons are better than others. But we get to experience all 4 seasons. And you get to choose which one you like the best. Don't mean you're not going to keep experiencing all four of them.
Yeah, but you get to choose.
But which
Your
one
favorite.
you like the best, you know? That's where you had the most fun, and the other one stay in the house or something. I don't know.
Can you think of a necessary ending that felt very painful at the time, but ended up being the best thing that you could have made a decision to do?
Wow. A necessary ending that hurt
Want me
at
to go
the
first?
time. Yeah, please, because I'm trying to think that hurt, but then was
That
the
was
best
painful.
decision. That was painful, but then was the best decision. Go
My
ahead.
necessary ending was leaving Damien the first time. It was so painful, but I knew in my head that if I don't let go now, we gonna hate each other. But it was removing yourself away from a person that you absolutely loved, enjoyed being around, but it was like, this is not working out for us. And I gotta be the one to take initiative because you're not gonna leave me. Similar to like what you were saying. You're not gonna leave me.
Yeah.
Mainly because I'm really not the problem. You know, we both have our shit. But you're not going, I have to end this now for my sanity.
To save yourself.
To save myself. And it was withdrawals like I was a crackhead.
Yeah.
You like literally like, should I call? And I want people to understand that when you do make those endings, especially when it's in a relationship, you're going to go through a season of back and forth. Like, don't let people lie to you. Okay? You're going to double back a few times. You're going to go through a season of trying to wing your, it's almost like a drug. You're going to go through a season of trying to wing yourself off of whatever you're trying to end because it's just too shaky. You just don't even know how to survive without it.
Yeah.
Until eventually you like, okay, you got to find your people. That's why I'm so connected to my friends. I'm so connected to my mom. And I'm so connected to my kids because when hardships come up, there's some people that's right there with you. You be like, look, call me and sit on the phone. I'm calling you because I need you to sit on the phone with me so I don't do nothing dumb. And they going to sit on, they could be at work. They could be doing whatever they doing. They're going to do what you need them to do so that way you can get over whatever addiction or whatever necessary ending you trying to make. And I feel like at that moment, my tribe showed up and was able to, whether they in my, because for me, I just needed people. I'm a people person. Whether they was all sitting in my room talking to me, stay in here. I don't want to, you can't leave me alone too long. I'll be done made rash decisions around here.
Irrational decisions.
So, you know, when, you know, everybody played their part, whether it was talking to me on the phone or just keeping my mouth. It was just only the nights. Sometimes it's something about that nighttime, about that 11 o'clock
Yeah,
hit.
that's that lonely period. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
That
And you
warm
like,
body ain't there, or that
and
person.
then don't let them actually be actively calling you or texting you. So now you're looking at it like,
Ooh.
okay, so he's looking for me too. And I gotta stand my ground. You know, it's difficult. It's very, very hard. But when I tell you I wouldn't do it no other way, it was the best thing I could have ever done because it was during that pruning season of my own life that I realized, like, Jasmine, you don't love yourself. Nothing that occurred in this relationship was his fault. You had control the whole time and you made the decision to allow him to have the control. So everything that I learned when I was going through my withdrawals was oh so beautiful for me to be who I am today. So it was the best necessary ending I could have ever made, and I would do it twice over again. And I would tell women, get out of it. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be challenging, but get out of it. It's going to feel so much better when you get on the other side. Best decision I ever made. And when things are meant to be, they'll find their way back.
Clearly.
But even with that, and I'm going to let you go if you're ready. Even with that being said, me ending it showed him who I was. It made him look at himself like, damn. Because you may have thought I was never going to leave. And it made me look at myself like I need to grow as well. Because if this is the type of decisions that I'm making for myself, I don't want much.
Yeah.
But we both took a moment of reality and said, I need to become a better version of myself individually. He did it, I did it, and we grew individually for us to be able to circle back around and become a better companion.
Yeah, better.
Together. And
Okay,
it's not that it's perfect now. Nothing's going to be perfect, but it's so much better than what it was. And I feel like if we had never done that, we would have we'd have been on the news somewhere.
Yeah, I kind of feel that
Fox
way.
5.
This is not my answer, but I do feel that if me and your dad, maybe it's a possibility, would have broke up early on, like y'all did in their relationship, instead of staying together, getting married. The fuck.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have enough problems.
Right.
We would have been better.
Yeah.
The thing is, I just don't know, because I have y'all now. I don't know if I would have wanted to.
At what point you would have left? Ooh,
See,
would
if
I
I
have
had
been
left,
safe? It's like, no.
actually, yeah, because if I had left when he suggested, because there was a time he suggested, he said, I don't want to keep hurting you, and I know I'm not the best person for you. I don't like to see you like this. I wouldn't let him go.
That's another thing, because the crazy thing
But he
is,
said it, so I have to
men
give him
usually
that.
say that to us. We don't want
Yeah.
to say it out loud.
Yeah.
But Damien made a comment like that to me before. So it's like, can I blame him?
Exactly.
Like,
No,
it's not his fault.
It's not.
Because he made a comment similar to that, and I'm so far gone. I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to argue. Then what you say? I'm gonna fix you. We're gonna work. We're gonna make this
and that's
work.
what we say to ourselves.
We're gonna make this work.
We're gonna stay in this,
So,
and then we keep. But we still blame them. Well,
you should have did this. You should, like,
No,
the nigga told you he was trash. And
he
you wanted to
told
be
you
like,
he was trash.
It's okay. Come on in the house.
And most men show you who they are.
Yeah.
90% of every man, because I know there may be a few here and there that may be better at the game,
Sprinkle.
but I have never been in relationship with any man in my 52 years that I didn't see exactly who he was
from the beginning.
From the beginning.
We've turned
And
our
I still made this decision to either stay in it, dabble in it, see what if I could change him or blah, 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 whatever. And every woman, you can't lie, don't bullshit yourself. The men are not the problem. If you've been in something 5 years and he ain't changed and you still waiting, baby girl, you're the problem. You know
It's
what
not
your
him.
problem is? You fooling yourself.
And then we get so hooked on, like I said, I'm gonna change you. We gonna work. We gonna work. And that's just not reality. So you have a choice whether you living in a fairy tale or reality. It's really up to you. Do what works best. I'm not choosing for you. I just know that in reality, I want to be happy. Right. And I don't want to just be happy on Instagram or social media. I want to be happy in real life.
Yeah.
Some people just okay with the fantasy world. I want to be in the reality world. What's really going on? Like, how this person really making you feel, like, in the flesh?
Oh, I know he don't. And you know when a person don't really love you the way you need to be loved, but just because it's a piece of something, you settle for that piece of something when you deserve all of something. At least 80%.
80-20.
I'm okay with that 80-20. That 80-20, I'm trying to tell you.
80-20.
Yeah, when you get wise or you understand that 80-20.
Even the 80-20 sometimes, that's where we discuss where people are not perfect, because everybody has an 80-20.
Oh, yeah.
Me and my mother, it's 80% of me that's great. It's just 20% that people be like, I don't know how y'all deal with her. Mm-hmm. I be like, it's a strong man out there. He shooting photos right now. You know, he's strong. Everybody has an 80-20. There's a 20% of you that most people don't want to deal with. Yeah. Or be like, not even if they don't want to deal with it, it's a piece of them that be like, you do too much. Mm-hmm. I ain't got time.
Yeah, definitely. Not today. Mm-mm. But
yeah, my mother got a 20. I ain't gonna get into it. I don't want to cause no problems.
You wanted to get out of hand?
I don't care nothing about it getting out of hand. You know what's funny?
Huh?
Well, what would be your answer to the question that I asked?
The most painful thing I had to let go was my children, and the most rewarding, because when I let them go, I found myself. I found a new version of myself. When I let my kids go, I also had to let go of who I was. Because for me, I was a mother. That's what I had been for 30-something years. And it was hard for me to be anything else or to see myself outside of that. I think that's why I stayed in it so long, because I was stuck. They need me. I'm their mother. Now I'm a grandmother. That's my identity. How do I walk away from my identity? Of course, I know there's more to me than that, but for me, that's all I could see. But once I walked away from it and spent time alone and started doing work on myself and detox, I had to detox myself because I still wanted to jump in. I still wanted to be there. I mean, I cried. I spent, yeah. I mean, I cried a lot of tears, like feeling, what I want to say, I felt like I was abandoning my children. It was like, it felt like abandonment. It felt like it just felt wrong in my body. But then I learned that, your body records everything that you deal with as a child, whatever. So my body didn't know how to handle that, because that was so different for me. Like, what do you do? So now your body going through convulsions, you crying, you can't, I can't sleep. And I don't know, part of me almost wanted to go back to it just so I could, but I knew I couldn't. And every day it took a while, but it got easier and easier, and then it got comfortable, and then the more and more it was quiet, it started feeling better, and then just getting up, and now all I had to do was take care of me. And I'm gonna tell you what really made, how I knew I had made the best decision for me and for my children, is when I talked to y'all one day, and I think you was dropping the kids off, and they had to pick them up, and man was doing something, and it clicked in my head.
They figuring this out without me. They never needed me.
They didn't need me. They can do this without me. So whatever I gave them, they got it, and they know how to use it. I just had to get out of the way. And I got out of the way, and it's the best thing I did for me and for y'all.
Yes, I agree.
So yeah.
I agree. Well, I guess my takeaway is, I know that ending things, whether it's friendship, whether it's relationships, and I mean sister, brother, mother, cousin, whoever it is, can be very, very difficult. And my advice would be to take it one day at a time. Ask for a second opinion on how you should move, a trusted second opinion, sometimes a third. I like to do that. I like to say, hey, look, this is the situation. What do you think, Mom? 9 times out of 10, I go to my mom or I go to my man, some of my close friends. I want to make sure that I'm making the best decision, because I do want to make it quick. I don't want to dwell on this long. So I like to get opinions from people that are from different walks of life, just to see what they say. I put them all together and I move accordingly. So have somebody around that you can get a second opinion from, that can give you some real advice on, that's what that is. Or no, that's not what that is. So that way you don't spend your time feeling stuck in a part of your life when it's time for you to soar.
Because when you fly, you can't carry everybody with you. That's too heavy of a weight.
Sometimes the door's not big enough for everybody to go through.
And I don't... And be your authentic self and trust yourself. Because the thing about it, let's just say you make the wrong decision. Okay.
It won't be the first time. Remember that baby father? It's like, no.
People are so afraid to make a decision thinking it's going to be the wrong one. So you stay in something that's not good for you. But hey, do something you haven't done before. And see what happens. You'll be surprised at how well it works out for you. That's
my take. This is the end of this episode. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Can't wait to see you on the next episode. And we really, really appreciate you all for continuing to support us and continuing to watch episodes week after week. See you later.